Hello, I'm Casey. Let me make sure that we are all good to go. Perfect. Okay. For my newbies, or just for the people who haven't attended many of these webinars, I do these about twice a month, depending on how crazy things get schedule-wise around here. And we cover a ton of different topics. I've already done basic overviews of the report writer. I've done a mobile webinar where I pressed every single button possible on the mobile app. We've done sequence and events, what triggers what, scheduling to confirmation to post-inspection emails, that kind of thing. As well as template editing in depth, which is a big one. And so if you haven't already, please go to the YouTube /spectora.com or type into the tech support chat bubble, and we can give you those links to go check those out. I also have a shorter YouTube tutorial series called the New User Setup Series, where I do a brief overview of each part of the system to kind of break it into more manageable chunks. I know that transitioning to a new software or even just learning all the different little tools that we have in Spectora is a bit of a daunting task, but I promise it's easier than you think it is. We hear it's super friendly and intuitive. And also we have a tech support chat bubble down here in the bottom right hand corner. Oops, my screen share chat is in front of it. Come on, I want to show off to my friends. Okay, there we go. As I just showed you, I'm pretty weird, and so is everybody else in our team in the most wonderful of ways. And so we have 7-day-a-week tech support, covering all business hours during the work week, and then we've got weekend hours as well. And so you're never going to go very long without getting an answer from us. We take a ton of pride in our tech support. Which brings me to, hello, I'm Casey. My job title changes on pretty much a daily basis, but I head up our customer success department is the best way I can put it. I run our tech support chat bubble as well as work with our development team on bug fixes, feature requests, things like that. And then I also do education and training. So I'm kind of just your point and your friend and your buddy. And I know a lot of you guys personally, and I love it. So perfect. Okay. So I'm going to close this guy. Today, we are talking about how to save time using Spectora and how to make more money, which is a little bit of a clickbaity title, but one of the biggest things that we hear about why inspectors are absolutely loving Spectora is that the time-saving tools that we give you two options. You can either choose to make more money by doing more inspections, because the inspections you are doing take you less time. You're no longer having to essentially have 2 full-time jobs, doing the actual home inspections on site and then going home and doing, writing the report later as well. And then the time-saving portion of it also gives you the ability to choose if you would like to take on more inspections, or if you just want to spend more time with your family or get back outdoors or do whatever you want. It's been a really, really cool transition into this industry for me, that so many home inspectors started home inspecting because they wanted to spend more time with their family. And so it's always a warm, fuzzy feeling when I hear that from people, that they're getting to, support their family and go to the kids' baseball games on the weekend, things like that. All right, basic rules for the webinar. I'm going to go through and do a whole bunch of talking and hopefully make it entertaining. You have a chat function. This screen share meeting is called a Zoom, Z-O-O-M, and you have a chat function. You are chatting directly with me, so nobody else can see your chats. As I go through, I've got a couple points I'm going to hit about how I think you guys should be saving money, setting up your program, stuff like that. I'm going to start on the web version, covering what you can do with websites that you have, availability, pricing, saving time on those kinds of things, credit card processing, payments, setting up online fee structures, things like that. How to use the automated emails to generate reviews, since referrals are such a huge source of home inspections. And then I'm going to finish off with a brief mobile app tutorial I kind of stuck it at the end because it requires me switching screen sharing to another device, which is always a little scary. It usually works. So we're going to do mobile app at the end. So we're going to kind of cover website, front end, web-based software, and then mobile app, which is great. The chat function, if you have a question, type it into the chat bubble. I don't actually read the chats during the actual webinar. It really funks with my flow, throws off the emperor's groove, if you will. And then we can do a whole chat user questions thing at the end. It's just kind of helpful to type in your chat on the group chat so that you don't forget it later. So perfect. Okay. Also, if a bunch of you type in at once, I'm going to assume that my audio went down or something like that. So please, if you're having trouble hearing me or seeing me or something like that, type it in the chat bubble. And if I see a couple notifications come up at once, then I'll go check it and we'll be okay. Sometimes tech support needs to do some tech support. All right, perfect. So one of the biggest things, and I actually should have had this pulled up to begin with, spectora.com/websites. As a home inspection company, having a website is pretty crucial to your business. I know that actually this is a great point to bring up. Whenever I do the screen shares, my internet slows down a lot, as you guys can see from it taking forever to pull this up. So please be a little bit patient with that. Again, I promise to make the wait time entertaining with antics. Anyway, so having a website is incredibly important for credibility and professionalism as a home inspector. I know when you guys are getting started and doing all of your training and your ride-alongs, the beginning getting your business off the ground can be really intimidating and costly. But I would prioritize having a website and a good software pretty high on that list. We live in such a modern society where most of the agents and the clients are millennials these days. And one of the first things that they're going to do, because millennials tend to try to avoid actual phone calls and would like to schedule things online or do things over text message, things like that, is going to be to Google you and see if you have a home inspection website and if you pop up on Yelp or Google reviews, Facebook, have a Facebook business page. And so an online presence is hugely important. It's also a great tool for you as an inspector to be able to schedule inspections within Spectora. I know that our scheduling tools, and I'll get to them here in a couple minutes, are pretty easy to use, but we were at the InterNACHI conference up in Longmont, Colorado. We're based here in Denver, so it was weird to only drive 45 minutes to a conference. But we were there, and it was really fun and interesting and cool to see all these home inspectors who were sitting there at a conference and then would walk over to the booth and be like, I was sitting there in class and I just booked 3 more inspections. So make sure that you have tools in your tool belt that are going to help you get inspections and business, sometimes without you trying. I'm not going to say that having a website is just going to make customers flow in. You need to put in some legwork with marketing. You need to put in some legwork with agent connections, referrals, things like that. We do at Spectora, we build websites, and we actually have a phenomenal first year bundle package for new inspectors called the Jumpstart package, where you get an annual agreement of the software, a brand new website that you help us customize and we build up for you, and a year of hosting for that website. And generally the turnaround time for creation of a website is pretty darn fast. We've got some great web designers. And so that investment into your company is going to get you everything that you need on the business side for the first year. So you can write that off and then make that money back right away. I always do like to mention that at Spectora, we have a 5 published inspection free trial. It doesn't have a time limit. And so you're able to train yourself on the software on 1 or 2 of those, and then actually use that free trial. We don't have limitations on it to do your actual first couple paid home inspections, which most inspectors actually then funnel that money back into buying the Jumpstart package, which is $17.99. And like I said, that gets you an annual agreement of the software, a website, and hosting for that. It's actually a pretty darn good deal. A lot of websites are much more expensive than that, and you don't even get the software for it. If you would like to see some of the websites that we've built, go to spectora.com/website. And if you scroll all the way to the bottom of them, we've got a couple of FAQs, what some customers we've built have said. And then all the way at the bottom, we have sites we've built recently. And you can see we've got a whole slew of them. And so you can click on them and see, oh, there's a South Florida inspector. I want to see what they look like and check them out. And so you can kind of see how much we customize, common themes, things like that for the websites. One of the most wonderful things about the website, like I said, is that your clients and agents are able to go on and schedule you directly through there. And now you can choose that. I say that mostly because the vast majority of our home inspectors use our online scheduler. We do have something called an inspection request form also, which is more of a contact form where they just fill out their information and submit a request to you. The online scheduler is great because it gets all of the clients and agent information and house information, and then provides them with a calendar, and I'll show you this visually in a minute, where your clients and agents can actually choose a time and a date based off of your availability, and either submit a request or book you in that minute. And since we live in such an instant gratification society, people want to get things done. If you're, oh man, I need to call a dentist, you only want to have to call once. Oh, I need to book a home inspection. Let's get this done and book it. And so if there's a runaround with trying to book an inspection time, chances are that you're going to have, particularly to us troublesome millennials, find a different site where it's easier to book. So when you're going about your online scheduler and your availability, the very first thing that I want you guys to look at is setting up the combination of three things in Spectora. You can access them in one of two ways. You can either go to the settings page over here, or your name is a drop-down menu. And so if you click the drop-down menu of your name, you'll see that you have all these crazy little tabs over here that lead you to different parts of the software. We're going to go to the settings page. And I always like to point out the drop-down menu of your name because these buttons up here are customizable, so you can choose which ones go up there. And so not everybody has those same buttons that I do up there. So if we go into settings, we have an actual availability schedule that you can click up here. And what that is going to do is you can set up your availability for the online scheduler, either with time slots or with time ranges. And so with time slots, you can say, I would like to do a 10 a.m. inspection, a 1 p.m. inspection, and a 5 p.m. inspection. And those are my three availabilities. And oh, wait, I don't work Sundays. And so you can set that up here. So for example, my schedule over here, let's switch to time slots since I just did that. I'm going to toggle this little guy up here. You can set up, okay, I've got an 8 a.m. time slot here. I would hit this plus time slot button and I can say, oop, I would also like a 1 p.m. time slot, and it's going to save it. And so you can create your time slot availability here. If you would rather have an open schedule where you can be booked anytime from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m., you would go up here and use your little toggle to go to open scheduling. Now, what we're going to quickly cover next is the services and fees area. And one of the time-saving factors, particularly with scheduling, is you can set up your service fees and duration for how long it takes you to do an inspection based off of a ton of different modifiers, most predominantly square footage, year built, things like that. And so what that's going to do is when they plug in and try to schedule you, enter the address, the square footage, the year it was built, things like that, this software is automatically going to calculate how long, based off of your input, it's going to take you to do that inspection. So say our base inspection takes 3 hours. Well, if I have an open scheduling time slot from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m., that 3 hours can be anywhere in that time slot, that range of times, excuse me. I do always like to mention that the end time here, say this 5 p.m. time slot, is a hard end. So with my 3 hour long example, the latest time that you could be scheduled on Tuesday for a 3 hour inspection would be 2 p.m. So that 5 p.m. is going to be the latest that you want to work, period. So it's not, I can book you for a 5 p.m. time slot. If it's a 3 hour inspection, the latest you can book me is 2 p.m. And those are called blocks, and you can add the blocks in there. Cool. These little guys over here are actually some advanced testing features that we're working with right now. I cover them in a beta webinar. If you are a beta user with us, those will be public here in probably a month or so. We're just getting some further testing on them. So if you see little buttons over here and you're like, what the heck, I don't have those, it's okay. You will soon. Ignore them. I'll cover them if they're important, I promise. Cool. So once you've set up your availability, one of the other time-saving things is if we go back into settings, a lot of people, use Google Calendar. And if I scroll all the way down and I go to user settings, in integrations, we have a Google Calendar integration. It's two-way, which is great for your availability because it means that instead of having to log into Spectora every time and every time you schedule a dentist appointment or an agent marketing lunch, something like that, you only have to enter it in the Google side and your integration will pull it over onto your Spectora calendar and it will mark off your availability so that you can't be scheduled during that time. So you only have to enter an event for time off or a conflict once. The example I usually like to use is if you schedule a dentist appointment and put it in your Google Calendar, it's going to pipe over dentist appointment to your Spectora calendar, and then nobody can schedule you over that dentist appointment. So you're making yourself more efficient by only having to enter things in one place. There are some other pretty cool features with Google Calendar, like if you schedule an inspection in Spectora, it gets piped over to your Google Calendar. But then if you're in your Google Calendar and you're like, oh no, I need to reschedule it, you can actually click to drag and reschedule an inspection in Google, and it will trigger a reinspection or a rescheduling to happen in Spectora. And it will trigger your rescheduling emails if you have those on. We'll cover emails here in just a little bit. And so I highly recommend if you use Google Calendar to put a Google Calendar integration in there. It just makes your availability and your scheduling so much easier. If you use something like Outlook or a different type of calendar, we have this iCal calendar, and iCal is essentially like a universal plugin. So when softwares talk to each other on a web platform, it's called an API. And basically it's just a plug. It's one directional though, because it's just a plug in, like a power outlet, you plug it in. And so if you schedule something in Spectora, it will show up on your other calendar on there. It just won't have the fun stuff of being able to interact with your calendar on the calendar side and have it react back in Spectora. So iCal, single directional, Google Cal, double directional. Great. Okay, so if we scroll all the way back up, so the next thing that I wanted to jump into covering is services and fees. So if we click into services and fees, so this is where you're going to calculate your pricing and how much time it's going to take you to do any of these inspections. And you can have as many services as you would like with as many add-ons and modifiers as you like. When it comes to, come on little internet. When it comes to services, I see two ways of setting them up. Either per service, and that would be something like residential, radon, sewer scope, condo, reinspection are probably the top 5 services I kind of see. Or you can do it package based of gold, silver, bronze, and you can determine what is included and what gets a discount, things like that within that pricing structure. If we open up this residential inspection tab, you can name your service up here, start off with a base cost, and then enter a base duration. That's the minimum amount of time that it takes you to perform this service. Now, if you have a couple services that you would only like to be scheduled internally, you can hide them from the online scheduler, but I would say the vast majority of companies don't use that tool. If they have a service, they want to be able to be booked for it. Let's make money. On the software side of it, for saving time, you can select a template to generate a report from, and you can select an inspection agreement to be attached every single time that this service is selected. That agreement will be put into the client portal for the client to sign, and that template will be put into the inspection to either you build it beforehand or to generate automatically the morning of the inspection. So you're not having to worry about going in later and adding a report and waiting for it to build, things like that. So adding which default template is set for this service type and which agreement is connected to it is super helpful. It just saves a lot of time. It means all you've got to do is schedule and then show up on site. As far as modifiers go, we have a ton. I mean, not a ton, but they're enough. So we have square footage, age of home, year built, either zip or postal code, and miles away from the company address or kilometers away from the company address. In Spectora, we cover modifiers by range. I know this is different from some other softwares where it's like 10 cents per square foot. I would say that this is just slightly easier to understand, particularly from the client and agent perspective, than getting charged $507.28, and you're like, I don't even know how you got there. Just creates a little bit of a rounder number. I most commonly see confusion when you're setting up your modifiers between age of home and year built. So a lot of times that's immediately what I go to look for when people talk to me on the tech support bubble about it. Year built is legitimately the year. So it's going to be like 1980 to 2000. And it's going to be a range of years where it was built. Age of home is going to be like 30 years old to 50 years old. Most inspectors that I see have used the age of home modifier and have, say, a modifier for homes over between the age of 300 or 30, and 100, add an extra hour because they're older and charge them an extra $100, something like that. So it's usually for the older homes with no pricing modifier for the younger homes. When you're setting up these modifiers, you can add the fee here and add the hours here. I would like to note that these are additive, not replacements. And what I mean by that is that if we have a base cost of 300 here, if my square footage range is between 1,500 and 2,000, it's going to, hold on one second, someone's knocking on the door. Oh. Hi. That was Mike. He runs the company, and he thought he had this conference room booked. So, whoops. Okay, so restarting that guy. Cool. Okay, because that was awkward, let me make sure everybody's back on the same page. Okay, are we all good? Kind of? Okay. Cool. All right, it seems like everybody's good. Mike embarrassed me. A little fluster. We're okay. All right. So we're back on track. Blinders on. The fun of live demos. All right. So what I was talking about is this is additive. So if the square footage, this modifier applies, if the house is between 1,500 and 2,000, it's going to be 300 plus 50. And so the total would be 350. So when you're going through and creating these fees, instead of doing, I think this one was someone showing someone what they shouldn't be doing. But instead of saying this is 350, this is 400, this is 500, whatever it is, it's your base plus your modifier. I'm gonna double check because somebody just typed in the chat. Okay, all good. Cool, thank you. Okay, and adding hours, like I said, is going to add the base duration and then the hours added, so 3.5. And that's gonna be able to give you a buffer and see how much time you need. All right, scrolling down, one of the other things that can absolutely make you money is diversifying your service types. I know a lot of inspectors don't want to perform solo radon or solo sewer scope inspections. It's just takes so much time to drive out there and do them and then that kind of thing. They would rather bundle them with the residential inspection service type. And so they create what's called an add-on. And so for the add-on, you would have your residential inspection, and once a client or agent selects the residential inspection service, they can choose to add on a sewer scope and a radon test. I highly, highly recommend as you go through your education and setting up your business, doing those further education things to be able to do a radon test, to be able to do a sewer scope, these things. They take you usually half an hour or less. Radon is you drop something off and then you pick it up, and you can upcharge $100, $50, whatever you want. Normally I see radon going from between $50 and $150 and sewer scope being about $100 and $150. And those are just quick add-on things that you can do that's gonna make you more money, make every single interaction that you have in your home inspection. You're providing more and more value to the clients and to the agents. Okay, and you can choose extra templates and extra agreements. Usually I see radon having an extra agreement on there. And so you can add those on as well to auto-populate one that gets selected so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, kind of next, but I'm gonna lump it all together because we're kind of running all over the place right now, is I was going to talk next about online payment processing. And this is included in the payment structure, so I swear I'm not off track. It's a pretty frequently asked question, how inspectors can turn the credit card processing fee back on the client or the agent, whoever is paying, because they don't want to pay that credit card transaction fee. So I was trying to show someone, we do have this taxes area. We built it up for our Canadian inspectors because in the United States, the vast majority of states, I can only think of one, literally, that allows services to be taxed instead of just goods. So in the United States, services are not taxed, only goods are. And technically, a home inspection is a service. So in the majority of states, it's not taxable. The word tax will, if you use this as your credit card modifier, credit card processing fee, and try to turn it back on the client or the agent, the word tax will appear on your invoice, and it will put together all of the tax percentages from every single add-on and service that you have on here and create a tax line item on your invoice. That is highly confusing to agents and clients who are used to not paying for services. So I do not recommend doing this. If you want to go ahead and try to turn it around on them, you can add a description called credit card processing fee, and then it'll say tax credit card processing fee. I would also like to point out, be very careful with this. We've had a couple inspectors tell us that in their states, it's explicitly illegal to turn around a credit card processing fee onto a client, and that it's part of the cost of doing business. Off the top of my head, I can't remember which 2 states there were, but so absolutely, if you're planning on turning this around on the client or the agent, make sure that it's not illegal for your state, please. A much safer way to do this would be to calculate out what your credit card processing fee is compared to your base cost, say 3% of this $300, and just add it directly into your base price instead of charging $300, charge $330, whatever it is, that's 10%, but still. And so make sure that you're building it into your base price instead. It also makes it just a lot more comfortable and a lot less questions on your end, which saves you time. So if you're going to do that, I highly recommend building it into your base cost price structure versus trying to actually make it a line item that you're going to turn around the credit card processing fee. My 2 cents. Okay, before I start talking super in depth about credit card processing, we're going to go to settings and look at what an online scheduler looks like. And you can compare what the online scheduler versus the inspection request form looks like. So if we scroll down here, so I'm in settings again, we're gonna go to online scheduler. And like I was saying, you can choose to require confirmation where the online scheduler is a request form, but they choose a specific time and date and it connects to your availability, but you still get to say, yep, and oversee everything before you confirm the inspection. Or if you just want people to go and book you and not have to do that extra confirmation step on your end, you can disable that. And anytime they use the online scheduler, it's going straight to your calendar. And they will be able to pay you, sign the agreement, everything right in that moment, and they're done. I generally see more established home inspection companies doing this than new inspectors, mostly for the comfort level thing. It's new inspectors want to make sure everything is okay with pricing, make sure everything is right with the information before it goes out. And I'm not saying that older inspection companies get callous or don't care about the details or anything like that. They definitely do. They just kind of know their system a little bit better, so they're more comfortable with being booked directly. Just go for it. I would say about 65% of the people who use the online scheduler require confirmation. It's just easy. Okay. If I scroll down here, and my new user setup series, I know I'm going pretty fast here, is going to lead you through these a little bit slower and teach you about all the things that I just scrolled past. So after this webinar is over, go live on YouTube for a little while. I promise it'll be worth it. Okay. You can receive emails and text messages when you are booked, which is great, particularly for the new inspector. You know, you want that notification immediately. So if we click this blue online scheduler button, it's going to open up the online scheduler that's connected to my company. And right now we're just on my test company, which is why we have a little puppy over here. Joe Inspector is my other test inspector when I'm testing out multi-inspector tools. That's our little chief NAP officer, our CNO. He's adorable. Anyway. Okay, so if we scroll down here, page 1 of the online scheduler is going to be our services and address information. So I'm going to go in here and select, yep, I would like a residential inspection, and then click off. And then under residential inspection in my services and fees area where I just set that up, you could check, yep, I want sewer, and yep, I want radon. Great. Scroll down here. And this address bar is going to connect to Google Street View, which is just another cool thing that makes you guys look super modern. So say I'm typing in 66 South Logan Street. It's going to show you all the options that Google can find for them. And 66 South Logan just happens to be our office address here in Denver. If there isn't an address, you can click this blue bar right here and it'll open up a manual scheduler. But one of the really cool things about if your address is part of it is it will automatically look at the Zillow listing and help your client or agent populate the approximate square footage and the year the property was built. Because a lot of times your pricing modifiers are going to revolve around those two things, but the clients don't know that yet. And then you can also check it to see if the property is occupied or the utilities are on. So if I click to the next, it's going to show the contact information. When we were originally building Spectora, we pulled a lot of agents, a lot of clients, a lot of inspectors for how the software should work the best for all 3 parties. And pretty much unanimously, inspectors said, and it's funny, times have changed a little bit recently, but at the time, Most inspectors said that they wanted to know what service and who was scheduling before the calendar was shown, so that if they navigated away from the page. So if a client has then entered this much information and say, I'm Casey, and Casey at Spectora, and then they leave this page, you can get an email saying, Casey, with this email, she wanted a residential inspection, but she didn't book you. And then you as an inspector trying to earn more money can contact them and say, hey, did you just not see an available slot that you wanted? Or were you confused about the process? How can I help you book an inspection? So you're not missing out on a client or an agent just because they navigated away from this page. So it's one of the settings in the online scheduler card in settings to receive an email of a booking in progress. So I highly recommend you turn that on if you're using the online scheduler. Don't miss out on the chance at business. So once we enter client information, plus all of the stuff populates into the inspection details page in Spectora. So the more information you get them to enter, the less you have to enter. Pretty nice. Okay, enter next. So now, based off of my availability, here's our calendar. And I have a 24-hour buffer, so we can't open that up. Okay, if I scroll to August, you can book me for these times, you can book me for these times, based off of the availability. Now, if I had a conflict with my Google Calendar, or there was already an inspection that was booked for that, these time slots would disappear. So you're creating your calendar for your inspection on here. I would say most full-time home inspectors use open scheduling, and most part-time, like our amazing firefighters and policemen who do this on their days off, usually use time slots. A little more scheduling, a little more figuring it out. But up to you, and I see everything go either way too. It's up to you. All right, so we would choose a time slot. Now, when a time slot is chosen, your client or agent is going to get this quote here, and you can choose whether or not you want the breakdown of the fees in there or not. You'll see what I was talking about, how the credit card processing fees shows up as a tax, and it's kind of like, wait, what? So I don't really like it. It's just my personal opinion, but I don't really like it. Okay, so it's going to be your address up here, who you booked it with, how long it's going to take, time, date, which services you selected, and look, oh, we got a great total down here. And then in the anything else you would like us to know, they can enter a lockbox code if there's a special front door entrance, if they have a dog, things like that. And then once you're done, you hit submit. A lot of Spectora inspectors establish rapport with their regular returning clients and agents, particularly the agents. And one of the awesome things about our web scheduler is on most smartphone devices, Apple, Android, I'm trying to think of what the third category is now, I can't remember right now. Anyway, Apple and Android, you can actually bookmark a web page to your home screen, which creates an app. And so your agents, to be able to schedule you even easier, can take this URL, this web link, and can save it directly onto their home screen of their phone. So anytime they need a home inspection, they can just click it, book it, done. And so they don't even have to do any run around with scheduling. Save time, make more money. Love it. Okay, so, oop, that's my email. Where'd we go? Luckily, I don't think you can see that. Okay, there we go. I accidentally clicked this email right here and it opened up my email. Okay, so we're going to go back to Spectora now. So that's the client and the agent view of it. Now, what we just created is this unconfirmed inspection request, specifically this guy. Nope, that's an older one. Yeah, oh, we turned up that setting. That's why. It's like, what happened? So on here, so now, then you would go in here and you would choose and confirm the inspection as an inspector. And so then you still have control over your calendar if you would like, or if it's booked and you're done, It'll just show up on your calendar over here, this is the one we just booked. Great. Okay, so now that your inspection is booked, let's talk about payment processing, because I know that we actually do have a couple lovely inspectors who donate their inspections to charities or things like that. But let's be real, most of you guys do it for an income. So how do we get you paid? My mantra for this webinar, I seem to have a different one for every single webinar, but this one is going to be, we live in an instant gratification society. So if you book an inspection, the client is already thinking about the home inspection. They just saw how much it costs doing it. This is the moment where you want them to be immediately able to go online and pay and sign their inspection agreement. There are statistics that we've run that the sooner you collect payment and get your agreement signed, the more successful you are at getting them signed and paid for. The lower the chances that they don't sign their agreement before you show up on site, or you go and do the inspection and you're waiting with a report ready and you still haven't been paid. So we have a huge number, more successful numbers and statistics of clients immediately booking and then going and signing their agreement and paying. And so use these tools, I promise. I hear a lot of kickback in the beginning on tech support saying, oh no, in my market, it's all cash and check. I don't want to do online processing. Like, my market just won't like it. And I would say 9 out of 10 times, as soon as they give the option, the inspector gives the option for online payment, everything gets so much easier in your life. You don't have to worry about anything with the bank. You don't have to worry about being shortchanged 20 bucks, like whatever it is. You just take the payment and you're done. So when you book an inspection, your client and agent is going to get an email that contains the link to the client portal. You as an inspector can click this client agent view and go view that exact same link. So I put this test one up here, but your logo as a home inspection company replaces Spectora. So we white label this for you. They don't need to know who Spectora is. And we're only seeing these buttons up here and the drop-down menu of the name because I'm a logged in inspector looking at it. And so your clients and your agents won't actually see these two. But what they will see is the map up here, a pretty cover page or a cover photo, if there is one from Zillow, you as an inspector, how to contact you, and then you get this great sign their agreement, and they can do it right now. And then if I had online payments set up, I don't actually have them set up since this is a fake test account. There would be a blue pay now button, and they would click that, and a secure portal opens up to take their credit card information and pass it right along to your payment processor. Now, we do have multiple options for payment processors. Before I navigate away from this page, this is where your client and your agent lives, which is another thing why agents and clients absolutely love Spectora. And then you get more referrals and you make more money and all sorts of stuff, is that they only have to remember this one link. As soon as you publish the report, they'll be able to see their agreement in here. They'll be able to see their reports in here. You can, of course, kind of tweak that and deliver the report to them in different ways. But this client agent portal, only having to remember one thing and not having to scroll back down through multiple emails and where's the PDF that they sent, I don't know, those kinds of things. We hear rave reviews about a client portal. Okay, so payment processors. We at Spectora love saving you guys money. We try to give you guys as much bang for your buck. We're premium, but that's because we work real hard from it, and we give you a ton of tools. Okay, so if we go to settings and then scroll down to payments, we have multiple options for payment processors. We ourselves partnered with Stripe, which is a payment processor that a lot of Fortune 500 companies like Target, and I'm trying to think of a couple others and I'm blanking right now, but like these huge companies use, called Stripe. And we negotiated down the transaction rate to 2.75% plus a 30-cent transaction fee. For most other payment processors, the average is up at about 2.9% plus a transaction fee or a monthly fee. And so we're actually hearing really great things about just cutting out that transaction fee, or cutting it down, excuse me, from 2.9 to 2.75%. We can kind of talk about this a little bit more in depth if you want to jump on the tech support chat bubble after this is done. Most 75%, I would say 70 to 75% of Spectora inspectors have switched over from using a different payment processor to Spectora payments just for the savings. Plus, it's great because everything's very integrated in here and you can check your payments on here. You can issue a refund through here. And so the more tools that you have in Spectora, the less time you have to be switching around to different softwares and logging to other things and what's my password, that kind of thing. So we want to be your one-stop shop to run your inspection business. I know that many inspectors already use a couple other payment processors and they don't want to switch. So here's the options that I've got for you. We have authorize.net that has a lot of different affiliate partners, Guardian, things like that. Herbert Touch, I think, is another one, but I can't quite remember on that one, so don't hold me to it. And then Square. For Square, they have a 2.9% transaction fee. Authorize is a little bit lower on the transaction fee, but they charge a monthly payment. So all in all, we hear that Spectora Payments is going to be the cheapest, lowest one for you, but you have to make that decision. Authorize and Square, we accept the payments online. It doesn't look any different from when you're using Spectora Payments. The downside is that all of your payments tracking and issuing refunds, things like that, needs to happen on Authorize and Square. You can't do it on the Spectora platform. And so having everything integrated, saving some money on the transaction fee, all that good stuff. Get that payment, get that agreement signed, go do it. All right, what am I missing next? Emails. Okay, saving time, writing an email, copying it out, customizing it. It's a pain in the bum. And the more time we can save you with automated emails and text messages, the more time you can either be doing an inspection, not getting angry at your computer, or spending time with your family. So if we use the drop-down menu of your name or this button over here, we can go to automation. And in automation, we have a bunch of options for sending out emails and text messages. And you can customize them for the client's agent, and the listing agent. Now, I always do like to point out that it's illegal in some states to send the report directly to the listing agent. You have to send it to the client or the client's agent, and then if they would like to send it to the listing agent. So all of these options have options for the client's agent, the listing agent, and the client, except for the report ready email. The report ready email can only go to the client and the client's agent. So you can set up automated text messages and emails for scheduling, rescheduling. If you add a new agreement or a new fee and say, hi client, there's something new to do here. Pre-inspection reminders, hey, if you haven't signed your agreement already. Another great way to upsell yourself, to make more money, and it literally takes you 0 time after you set up these templates, is putting information into your pre-inspection emails for the client saying, hey, did you know that X amount of homes in your area have high radon, and your county, city, state highly recommends a radon test before buying a house? Would you like to add a radon? Add that scientific language in there. Get your upsells in there. Would you like me to check your sewer scope? Because so many clients don't know what to book when they're trying to book a home inspection. So lead them through the add-ons, get yourself more money when most of those barely take any time up. And so you can upsell them with these emails. So the main function of these pre-inspection reminds them, get paid and get signed, and upsell. It's great. The other huge thing for building your business is reviews. Those Google reviews, Yelp reviews, Google My Business, Yelp, Facebook is another one that has them. We find that the vast majority of inspectors, instead of paying a third-party service to handle reviews for them, use our post-inspection emails. That in itself is saving you money. These post-inspection emails, you can set to go out, emails and text messages, at different times. Most of the time, and the most effective that I've seen, is sending a follow-up email or text message about an hour or 2 hours after the home inspection, right when you're on their mind, and say, hey, did I do a good job? Would you like to write me a review? 7 days after, they've got enough time to look through the report, they're really impressed with your work. Yes, I would like to leave a review now. And then the third follow-up is kind of the one where I see the most variance. I see it used either on the 21-day mark, the 30-day mark, or some handy home inspectors who want to do re-inspections will use it at the 11-month mark and say, hey, it's been 11 months since your last home inspection. Here's the link to my online scheduler. Would you like to schedule another one to see what's changed with your house in the last year? So that 11-month follow-up to get you a re-inspection is pretty great. But type it in the tech support chat bubble if you would like to add a hyperlink. So let's click edit template. Okay, we're gonna backtrack slightly. Let's go back. This is one of my test ones. Okay, we go down here and we open it up. There we go. Okay, different template. Okay, so one of the time-saving things that we have at Spectora is adding lines of code into your email and your agreement template so that you don't have to customize every single one. These placeholders or variables and the orange buttons here on the side insert these curly Q bracket options here, where you can say, every time I have an inspection, I would like this reschedule confirmation to go out, and I want it to say the client's first name in there. Instead of having to create an email that says, hey, Sharon, I'm rescheduling this, or you rescheduled this, or whatever it is, this will automatically populate Sharon's name from the inspection details page, or the inspection date, the inspection time, street address. So you can create these templates where you only have to set them at once, and then they're getting their email sent out automatically. So those placeholders are a huge time saver. What I was talking about with the hyperlinking and the reviews is you have to jump through a couple hoops with Google My Business. They make it a little bit harder to get reviews so that there's actually that threshold of this is a review versus like a robot writing them. And so you have to do things a little bit different with Google My Business. But say if you have a Facebook page and you want them to leave a review there, you can use this chain link icon to create a hyperlink that will say, leave me a review on Facebook. And then we can highlight it and hit the link button, the chain button, and add the URL, the web link, to your Facebook page. And that is going to immediately give them the link back to do it. I highly recommend for all of your review pages, using the link that will directly go to the form. Create the lowest barrier for obstacles for them to leave a review. Instead of sending them to your business page with the leave me a review link, send them directly to the form to start filling it out. Make it as easy as possible for them. We've got a couple really, really wonderful inspectors who we've gotten great feedback from when it comes to the reviews. And they said that the post-inspection emails and the reviews and saying, thank you for your business, I'm a small business, your review means a lot to me, that they tripled their 5-star reviews in the first few months of using Spectora. These emails are extremely powerful. You do need to weigh who you're sending it to and where you're sending it to. Most agents don't want many follow-ups, but most clients do. And so I see a lot of inspectors using all 3 client post-inspection emails, but only having 1 post-inspection follow-up for the agents. And it usually says something along the lines of like,
hey, you can leave me a review, but I'd love your business again. Give me feedback and I'd love to work with you again, that kind of thing. So kind of weigh your market, your area. But we do live in I'm changing it this time. We do live in a society where reviews are the norm now. And pretty much everybody kind of understands how important a review is to a small business or even a large business. I know I bought something off Amazon today and I looked at the user reviews. And so asking people for a review is not as much as a social stigma as it used to be. So put yourself out there, and you don't even have to. We'll do it for you. Create a template, ask someone for a review, and then forget about it. I'm kidding. I mean, kind of, but you know. Okay, emails, reviews. I thought about something in the middle of that, and now I forgot what I was going to tell you. So, okay. Reviews, credit card processing, Google Calendar, referrals, reviews, all the good stuff. Okay. Before I'm gonna look at the chat and we're gonna answer some questions, and then I'm gonna switch over to mobile and then take some questions there as well. So since I'm blanking on other time-saving things, I'm gonna open up the chat. Okay, I'm gonna start top to bottom because that seems fair to me. And I'm not going to use your names to the best of my ability so that it's not on blast on YouTube who asked what. Initial setup questions, and then also marketing details. Okay, so I would recommend for learning how to initially set up the software, going to that new user setup series on YouTube, and it just makes it into manageable chunks. And then marketing details. Set up your website. You can actually use that online scheduler link as a placeholder for a website if you're trying to save up some money before starting your inspection business, getting a custom website. And so you can use that online scheduler as kind of a placeholder website if you would like. And then if you would like to figure out something like pay-per-click advertising on Google, or how to have your website rank more highly organically so that it stays at the top longer than the time period that you're paying for, feel free to jump on the tech support chat bubble, and we can have one of the web and SEO team talk to you about SEO, that's search engine optimization. And it has to do a lot about having your website have an active blog on it. The more your website updates and changes and things like that, the more Google recognizes it as a really good business. Reviews do great things. There's a ton of factors on Google's crazy, evil mastermind algorithm for how to calculate who ranks where on Google. And so if you would like to talk SEO packages, we can talk about how to do that on the tech support chat bubble. We do build the Spectora websites to be SEO optimized, and I say optimized specifically because SEO doesn't directly come with them, the blog writing, the content, things like that. However, we do optimize it for an SEO plan, either by us or somebody else, and we put in the tags to make you rank highly locally and things like that. And so we already give you a good base. It's just whether or not you would like to, Kevin, who's the head of our web department, as well as one of our founders, always likes to make the comparison with SEO, where it's like growing a garden. You can either go to the grocery store and buy produce, and that would be like pay-per-click advertising. You can have that at the top, but as soon as you eat that produce, it's done. As soon as your pay-per-click budget runs out or time period runs out. And SEO, which is the search engine optimization, is like growing your garden. You have to plant the seeds. You have to, take care of it every single day and kind of monitor it. And then ultimately you're going to have this beautiful garden, but it takes a little bit of work. So that's fun. Kevin's fun little comparison for what's the difference between PPC and SEO. PPC is pay-per-click. Okay, scrolling down. Longer question, but the gist of it is, how does drive time factor into services and fee base time and duration? A couple different ways. Most inspection companies build in a drive time buffer based off of the service area that they service into the base duration. So if it generally takes you half an hour to get anywhere with the inspection, build an extra half an hour on either side of your inspection time. The online scheduler allows bookings on every half hour. So I do also see people with durations that last, 3 hours. And then if my inspection ends at noon, the next time that I can be booked on the online scheduler is going to be 12:30. You can't book for exactly the time that another inspection ends. So you're automatically going to have a 30-minute buffer time. If you need more than that 30 minutes, build it into your base duration to be able to have drive time back and forth. Or I would say use time slots instead, where you can absolutely control, I'm doing one home inspection in the morning, I've got a buffer period of time to drive around, and then I've got other ones. Or use require confirmation on the online scheduler. And then if you have 2 back-to-back home inspections and you see it's going to take you longer than the time that you've built into your base duration, then you can adjust it and reschedule it. Sorry, I just hit the microphone. Sorry if that was really loud. Happens at least once a webinar. Okay. We do also have pricing modifiers based off of mileage away from the company address. So whatever address that you have in your company profile, you can say, if you're making me drive more than 30 minutes, or 30 miles, make sure that you're adding 30 minutes to my duration and also $50 for gas or whatever it is. So you can use that mileage modifier from miles away from company address to add further duration and further pricing. So actually that's the real answer. Forget what I said at the beginning. Use the mileage modifier. I'm sorry. There's a lot of things. Okay, perfect. Scrolling down. Someone's asking if they haven't used availability, but they use the scheduler. Do you see all their appointments that you've blacked out, or do they see when you're just not available? Okay. I think what you're asking about that is, can other people see if you've been scheduled for a time slot? And that answer is no. When they're looking at the online scheduler, they're only seeing your availability. When you are available based off of your availability, and if you're blocked off, things like that. So they can only see the good stuff, what they can actually book. They can't see you've been booked for a noon inspection, that kind of thing. If I'm off on that question, jump on the bubble again. Oh, I'm used to saying bubble. I guess it's not a bubble here. It's kind of sad. It's kind of a bubble, whatever. Does Spectora have a payment process? Yes. Spectora payments, 2.75 plus 30 cents. We've got tons of articles and textbook chatable things about how to choose which one and things like that. So jump on there and we can give you all the information written down instead of me just rambling numbers at you. Okay. Somebody asked about mentioning white labeling, that the client doesn't need to know who Spectora is. How can the web page URL be white labeled? You would purchase a domain and build your own website. So if you are using our online scheduler, then it says spectora.com / the name of your company. Let me show you. Okay, so we go down to online scheduler. Come on. So on the online scheduler, it says spectora.com / the company name / scheduler. And so it's not, that URL is not white labeled. However, if you have your own website, you would like to white label it and do it, the online scheduler automatically comes with, sorry, my chat's in the way, this embeddable widget. It's an iframe embeddable code. And so when you embed this online scheduler into your own website, nothing with Spectora displays around the edges. The box body of the online scheduler just appears on your own website. So how you would white label is you buy your own website, you create it, and you embed this scheduler into it. Otherwise, when you click My Online Scheduler, if you're just using ours, it says spectora.com, home inspectors, Denver home inspection schedule, or whatever the name of your company is at the time. I clicked the silly email thing again. Okay. There we go. So that's how you would white label it. Get it, embed your scheduler in the website. Cool. Are there any additional costs for sending automated text messages? Yes and no. If you are using our base system, the text messaging and emailing are strangely far apart technology-wise. It's very easy to send a third-party email and email on your behalf from your email. So when you send an email from Spectora, it's going to say, from Casey to you, that kind of thing. With text messaging, third-party text messaging using your phone number is not a thing. It's one directional and one user, one thing. I mean, yeah. So third-party text messaging is not a thing. If you, how do I say this nicely? Okay, two options. Free version is the text messages come from a 720 number that's here in Denver that we own, and it sends all of them out. If you're opting for the free version, then it costs you nothing, but I do recommend that in your text message template, you include a line that says, if you would like to reply to this text message, do so to this number, and you put your own text message number. Because if they reply to our number, then it won't get to you because it's only one directional. So either put your phone number in there and say, if you need to respond, contact me here. Or we do have an option for you to purchase your own text message number. It's a subscription. I believe it's $15 a month. And that gives you your own dedicated text message number that is two-directional texting. It cannot be your own personal phone number, again, because we can't third-party text message for you. So what you could do is go on and get a local number so that it's not coming from 720, us in Denver. It could be whatever your area code is, and then some combination of whatever numbers and letters it is to create your company name or something like that. And so you can grab a text message number that's directly to you, and then if an agent or a client texts you back on that number, we forward it to your phone. If that was confusing, which I'm pretty sure it was because I don't think I've ever not typed it. I think like I've only said it out loud. We have articles on it that are very well written and not me rambling. So jump on the Techsport Choppable, and if you would like to talk about purchasing and why you should purchase a subscription to a text message dedicated line, Techsport Choppable me. But the base is free. The 720 number is free. Question about, is there an easier way to give an estimate to inspection companies? Get a quote button, schedule now, request more information button. Currently, most inspectors just use the online scheduler or use their internal facing online scheduler to give the quote out. Reason being, most home inspectors want to be able to get something in exchange for that. Some clients don't understand how much your valuable services are worth, and so they'll just get sticker shock from a quote and go shopping around for the cheapest option. And so this way, you can get what services they would like, their contact information, and send it all out before they, or get that information before they get the quote. And so you kind of build what you are doing and what services you are providing versus just like a quick button. It may be something that we build in the future, just a quick get a quote widget, and you can choose to enable it and put it in your website, that kind of thing right now. But right now, inspection request form, online scheduler, or I guess inspection request form doesn't have quote. It would be online scheduler, or you would give it to them based off of your scheduling internally. Question with, oh, okay. So the person who was asking before about can they see what's on your availability and if you've been booked or not, the clarification on that question was, can they see things that are integrated with Google? And that answer is no. So we look at your Google and say when you are booked off and take it out of your availability. the client and the agent on the online scheduler can't see that you have a dentist appointment. They just don't see the time slot for when you do have a dentist appointment. So they only see the availability. They don't see the reason why. If it's an inspection, a dentist appointment, anything like that, they don't see it. All they see is when they can schedule you. Cool. All right. Before I attempt my technological switch, does anyone have any kind of questions on the building a website, what that process looks like, availability, pricing, Google Calendar, services and fees area, payment processing, emails, getting reviews? Maybe. I'll do one last overview while I'm waiting to see if anybody types in here to see if I've missed any other fun time savers on here. There's a lot of little fun things to save time. I'm just trying to do an overview. I guess it's worth noting, we are building out these advanced business tools. Right now they're in beta and alpha testing. And so they're being tested out by some of our users before we actually release those tools to the public. And these will be hugely time saving. They are we originally built them for our multi-inspectors, but we're increasingly hearing that the solo inspectors also would use these tools, particularly if they have partnerships with third parties for radon testing, sewer testing, mold testing, termite testing, things like that. And so you would be able to have custom automated emails specifically to certain services, calculate your pay splits if you're a multi-inspector based off of percentages and fees that you put in there. For the online scheduler, you can limit which inspectors are scheduled for what based off of either what services they're qualified to do or by drawing a boundary on there. And then inspection events adds an event to your calendar automatically. So like every time you schedule a radon, you can have a radon event to go pick it up, be populated on your calendar, that kind of thing. I have a whole webinar on that if you want to go check it out, but right now it's not open to the public. It's just in our testing. My buddy who just joined asking about pricing, I did go over how to set up your pricing structure, your fees, your services, things like that. I would recommend checking out the short tutorial I have on the new user series for setting up the services and fees area specifically. I think it's only like 10 minutes long, and it just tells you how to set all those up. Cool. Is there a webinar for more detail on availability? No, not specifically, but there is a new user series, setup series. Oh, actually, I think I have to refilm that. There's a basic one in there describing how to do things. It just looks slightly different on the user side. And so I think later this week, actually, I'm filming a replacement video for that, but you get the gist from it. And then trying to think of the other one on availability. It's actually not that complicated, to be honest with you. So I can either, me or Alexis or anybody else on the tech support chat bubble, we can talk you through it, gives you the proper links, the videos, the articles as well for availability. And we can kind of answer questions on that, but it's kind of, it's a little bit easier than you think it is, I promise. Okay. Sorry, I just clapped next to the microphone. Things you don't think about in real life. All right, I'm going to do the scary transition to sending you guys over to the app. Now in Spectora, this is the #1 time saver moneymaker, is the mobile report writing app. The app, I can click and talk. The app itself allows you to come on. Maybe I can't do it at the same time. Resume share. Did it. Okay. Moment of panic. Okay. So, yeah, we have the web-based platform. Then we have a companion Apple and Android report editor, which you use on site. Using the app allows you to finish it hypothetically, and a lot of inspectors do, finish 100% of the report writing on site. A lot of inspectors choose to then go home and proofread before they publish to the client. Or if you use an external camera like a drone or a sewer scope, you can either transfer the pictures onto the mobile device and then import them into the report, or you can drag and drop them on the web report editor and also do some web report editing if you like to do a lot of typing, things like that. But the majority of our home inspectors finish 95, if not all, of their report on site. So on the app, it's Apple and Android, I think I said that. You log in. That is my face. I did not schedule a test inspection for today, so I am going to go down to the all button. It's at the bottom of the page, and open up, and it's going to connect to the web. A pretty common question that I get on tech support is, does the app need internet to edit a report the way the web software would? And that answer is both yes and no. You need internet to do what I'm about to do, which is load a report onto the app. But then as soon as, so I should get on airplane mode. But then as soon as you have a report loaded on here, then you can edit in airplane mode. You can do whatever. You don't need internet to edit. Okay, so I'm going to load my Monday testing inspection. All right, so I clicked over, and your display could look a little bit different than this. All of those things are going to be there. It's just whether or not they are lined up in a single line or a double line, depending on your screen size. The specified location cannot be found. We're going to replace here in a minute with a cover photo. So that's not actually anything wrong. You can click time saving again, that map button, and it will open up your app's chosen driving directions, Waze, Google Maps, things like that. And so you don't have to waste time typing in the address and looking it up from an email or anything like that. If you use Spectora payments, instead of having to carry around a card swiper like you would with Square or something else, that orange payment required button, it will allow you to accept the credit card information on site as if it was a swiper. I do like to always mention that none of the credit card information actually gets stored on the app. It immediately gets passed up to the web. So I guess that's another thing that you would need internet for, because you certainly would not want to be storing any credit card information on the app at all. That'd be a huge security liability. So if you have an internet connection, you can hit that payment required button using Spectora payments, enter the credit card information, or scan it using that fun, like, hold the credit card and it scans the number for you thing. That's integrated into the app. And it will pass it along to the payment processor. So nothing is saved on the app, all safe. This inspection doesn't have agreement attached, but if you're on site and the agreement still has not been signed, you could click that where it says no agreements, and you could click that and the client or agent could sign on site. So for now, we're going to click into the residential report, which is the lighter blue button, and open this guy up. So the first thing that we're gonna do is take that cover photo. So if I click right up top there, so I click the word update report cover photo, I'm going to then select take photo. This is our conference room. And click it. And now I'm going to use photo. So now I've just added a cover photo for this report. Nice, easy, done. I see a lot of inspection companies, I believe InterNACHI actually recommends doing this. If you have a branded vehicle, park it in the driveway of the house and then take the cover photo picture so that your branded vehicle is in front of the house with even more branding for your company. Branding and marketing are everything. Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. Okay, let me write it down really quick and I'll tell you guys a cute thing at the end that gets you a lot of referrals. That'll be your bonus at the end, is the referral funness. Okay, anyway, no idea how I remembered that right then. Okay, so when you go through the Spectora app, this first screen is your sections. And your sections are your biggest file folders of information. You can customize your templates in your template editor on the web to be any way you would like to set it up. I generally see inspectors setting it up one of two ways, either room by room or systems based. And it really just depends on how you were trained and who you trained with. Currently, InterNACHI teaches a service-based. I think with what I'm using right now is the InterNACHI-based template off of the standards of practice for InterNACHI. So exterior, roof, heating, plumbing, all of those comments are within that file folder. I also see usually ASHI and inspectors who trains not at a school but under other inspectors mostly actually do room by room with here's a bedroom, here's a kitchen, here's those things. And those are generalizations, but that kind of is how people fit into those two categories, at least in my experience. So we are going to click into roof. It's a running joke that I always use roof, but it's the language that I'm most comfortable with, which is hilarious because I've never been on a roof. I just seem to help people with all sorts of tech support on the roof area. So I am going to click on the roof title, and it is going to open up my subfolders, which are called items. So we've got sections and then items. And so here are all of my comments for coverings, roof drainage systems, flashings, skylight chimneys, those kind of things. So if we go into coverings, green are my informational comments. They're the good ones or the neutral ones. Some other softwares call these styles and materials. And so you can have these base multiple choice comments built into your template so that for the covering material, instead of having to type in or have a ton of check boxes to go through or anything, you can have the base, what you usually see for the material for your coverings, and all you've got to do is check one. If you have something that lays outside of your normal base area, you can hit directly below the word tile. There's a gray other button, and if you hit other, you can enter new material. Ooh, my bubble noises are on, which brings up another time saver. If you are entering a new comment or adjusting a comment that is already in there, you have the option for save to template. This means you can either choose to add this on a one-off basis, a per report, or instead of having to enter it here and then remembering where it is and go back to your template later and add it, you can choose to hit save to template. And what it's going to do is when you save this report back up to the web, it's going to add this comment or add this multiple choice answer, whatever you're adding, to your template. So save new value. So now when I save this report, I don't even have to go back and template edit. We're all good there. You can also very easily add a new informational comment. If you see something that's new on here, you would hit the plus new button at the top and you would add in the title of the comment. You can add a description in there. You can choose to save the comment to the template if you would like. You can make it bold, italics, underlined, all that fun stuff, add bullet points. So I'm going to click off to exit out of that. You can have many different types of comments in Spectora. You can have checkbox type comments that's either on or off. The one we just did is called a multiple choice type comment. You can also have what's called a text type comment, and that's this test comment that I have down here below where it says enter value. I most commonly see text type comments used for serial numbers because if you click on this enter value, it's going to pull up your keyboard and you can enter serial number because it's alphanumeric. I forgot the end, but whatever. So now you have that in there. We also have something called a number type comment that I'll find in the report and show you guys here in a minute. And the number type, instead of pulling up the keyboard, is going to pull up the number pad. So you don't have to worry about switching from the keyboard to the number pad just to enter a bunch of numbers. Usually I see this for like gallon capacity or age of water heater, things like that. So one, the text type will pull up the keyboard. The number type comment will pull up the number pad for you. Orange limitations as a comment type are something that it limited your inspection. So it's going to be something like there was snow on the roof, so I couldn't get on the roof. Or the basement was furnished, so I couldn't tell the foundation type. There was storage in the basement in front of the water heater, so I couldn't inspect the water heater. So a limitation is something that limited you as an inspector from performing your full inspection. A defect. A defect is the bad stuff. Or the stuff you want to show to the client or the agent. You can rename this third category anything you want. I generally see defect, observation, or finding as far and away the top 3 for those. You're stuck with the words informational and limitation comments, but you can change the word defect to whatever you would like in your language in your template. And defects are generally checkbox type comments. So all I have to do to activate this comment to be added to the report is click it. So if I click damaged in general, now that comment is active. I have already in the template added language into there, roof covering show moderate damage. And so by just checking that comment, I'm now also entering that description into the report. Time saver. If I go back, now I'm back to this page with the defects. The biggest time saver that is the game changer of Spectora, one of, is directly underneath the category button, the one that's blue right now. You will see the camera. And the super camera is a beta feature. Okay, so it's right next to it. It goes flag and then photo. And with the photo button, if we click on it, I can in person take a picture of the defects and I can select to use photo. And then directly on site, it pulls up a photo annotator where with my finger, all I have to do to create an arrow is draw. And I can choose to have different arrows. I can have a square. We can do an orange circle. You can add a caption with location labels for things that you can create yourself. That cuts down time as well, and save the caption. And then when I'm done, I hit the checkbox in the bottom right-hand corner to save it to the comments. I'm completely done with that comment now. I mean, I could do other little things like add a price estimate if I wanted to, things like that. But as far as a normal inspection goes, you're completely done with the report writing portion of that comment. You don't have to go back later and drag and drop pictures in or have some sort of complicated system of hand signals for your camera to know when you change your room, things like that. And so that ability to take pictures and immediately annotate them is the thing that allows inspectors to finish the majority, if not all, of their report on site. We do have some crazy kids that publish on site too, but I would say the majority go home, proofread on a bigger screen, and then go back and finish the report or finish previewing and then publish the report. Other little fun time-saving features. It's super easy to duplicate comments, items, and sections in the report. For instance, if I wanted to duplicate this damaged general comment, on the first line of icons, the copy button is all the way to the right, and I hit copy, and it'll duplicate it. And now if I scroll down, I have 2 of them. And you can add different pictures from there, different location tags, you can slightly edit them. And so you're not having to start over from scratch every time you've got a comment. It's incredibly easy to duplicate other parts of the report. Like if I go back, and now I'm in the sections area, say if we have two different roof areas, one on a detached building, one on the main house, all I have to do to duplicate the roof section is take my finger and swipe to the left. So I'm going to swipe this section and reveal, duplicate, or delete. And so if I duplicate, then I have now duplicated all the comments inside of it, and now I have roof 1 and roof 2. And renaming it is as easy as clicking into roof 2. And if you click the 3 dots in the upper right-hand corner, one of the options is going to be to edit section name. And I can call this detached building roof and save it. And now I've got a roof and a detached building roof, and I can go about my inspection as it is. 2 other huge time savers that we have are global search for comments and then optional sections. So these base sections that you're seeing right now are the ones in my template that are selected to be included in every report. However, if I hit this plus section button at the bottom, you'll see that I have something called an optional section. That's a section that I've built into the template, but it's not automatically included in every report. It's going to be something like a garage where I want to add it if I need it, but I don't want to have it if I don't. So all I would have to do to add that section in there and get all of my garage comments is hit optional sections, and now garage is added. It's pretty easy. Global search is sweeping the home inspectors and speeding up their home inspection process enormously. And so if you look up top, there's a little magnifying glass. And if we hit this magnifying glass, I can then type in any comment. So say I'm walking around, let's pretend this conference room is a kitchen, and I see a pipe. And instead of going it back out to the sections and back into wherever my plumbing comments are, if I want to jump around areas of my template and my report in order to more efficiently find these comments that I know are in there because I know my template like the back of my hand, what I can do is say it's a cracked pipe. I can type in the word crack, and it's going to pull all of the comments that I have in this template for the word crack. And then I can sort them. If I had, for some reason, an informational comment that involved the word crack or a limitation, you could sort by informational, limitation, or defect type comments. In this case, crack was a pretty dead giveaway that it's a defect. I don't know, you can have a lovely cracked pot or something, I don't know. And so you can say, oh, I'm looking for, let's say, I don't know, we'll just choose one. Let's go to a foundation crack. It's a minor foundation crack. So that's the comment that's directly at the top. So I click it, and then I can go about taking my picture, using it, and then drawing my arrow to say this is my foundation crack. Oops, it's really hard to see the green against the orange table, or orange against the table, you know what I mean. And hit save. And now I've activated that comment into my report without even having to navigate back into that area in that section. You can also, if you have any flagged comments, that's an internal inspector feature for, hey, reminds me that I need to go address this later. You can sort by flagged up there at the top. We don't have any flagged comments in this report right now, but if we did, it'd show up there. And then you can also, if you're within a certain section or an item, the search will start within that section or an item to make it easier just to jump around that. But you can expand your global search using the globe that's next to the flag and use that guy. And then it will search the entire report. Then once we have edited our report and we're ready to save it up to the web, I would go back out to this inspection details page. and I would just hit the save button, and it will send the information that is on my app up to the web and create the web report, create the PDF, and you will be ready to send those out to the clients and the agents. Now, one of the major things to get a referral, because we live in an instant gratification society, is showing off how knowledgeable you are. And I'm seeing an absolutely lovely trend that I get behind completely, where home inspectors are no longer the breaker of the deal in the agent's eyes. Home inspectors are more educational on the client's end now. Here, let me teach you about what may potentially be your new house. Teach you about these defects, teach you, and make it very much more educational than just pointing out the bad stuff. To enable you guys to do that easier, if I go back out one more, oop, nope, I didn't even need to. See, I just messed up. I was on the right page. Okay, now we're exactly back where we were. Pretend none of that happened. So we're looking at the inspection details page. The darker blue summary button is going to take all of the defects that you have and it's going to put them in an area so that you can do a walkthrough with the clients or agents and show them the report that you just made. Look at all the things that I found and let me talk to you about them because I care about you. It impresses the agents thoroughly. I know a lot of home inspectors really like interacting with the clients and the agents in person and establishing that rapport. Others just like to get in and get out. But if you are doing a walkthrough, hitting this summary button, the dark blue one, is going to open up a list of all of the defects that you've created. In this case, we activated foundation cracks minor. So now you can see the picture that I've taken, you can see the description. In my template, I've even included a helpful article that we could click on and it would open up my web browser to a helpful YouTube link. The more information you give your client and your agent, the better. So the summary is going to enable you to do your walkthrough a lot better. Up at the top, you can sort. There's a hammer and a wrench and then a yield sign. Those are the different defect categories. You can learn kind of more about those in both my report editing and template editing tutorials if you would like. And so you can hit those defect buttons and now you can see the defects of all the categories. The blue ones are usually something the homeowner can do. It's a maintenance item. You can name those categories whatever you like. Orange is usually something that you recommend a professional to address. And then there is a third category. We just didn't enter any of them for them. It's red, and it's a safety hazard. And so it's usually something that you want addressed immediately. Depending on your market, depending on how you like to do things as an inspector, you can choose to only have orange and red, or have blue, orange, and red. I would say majority of inspectors use all three categories: blue, orange, and red, high, medium, and low. Okay. That was probably the shortest mobile demo I've ever done, because getting into things much deeper than that gets a little complicated. And I already have a mobile editing demo in the new user setup series, as well as a full 2-hour webinar where I press every single crazy button. And so if you would like to absolutely learn everything that there is to know about the mobile app, go watch that webinar. If you just want a brief overview and then you want to walk around your house and get a feel for it yourself, I highly recommend doing a mock inspection of your own house before you do things with a client or an agent present. Get to know the app, just click around, do the report on your house. Okay, I am going to open up the chat. Chat with me, people, before we switch back over to the web. And then I will go through and answer as many questions that I can while we still have some time left. Okay. When taking pictures, let's say you have an item that requires multiple pictures. Am I able to select multiple photos for the camera roll, or do I just select and upload multiple at a time? Great question. You can select up to 10 at a time. So if we go into residential report, this blue button, we're going to go into roof because it's my fave, and go into roof drainage systems. Scroll down. let's go and make one for debris. So here's a red one. We jokingly named this category in my template, oh boy. And so that's why that is displayed right there. Normally that would say safety hazard or major maintenance item, something like that, depending on your language. We're just a little silly. All right, so on the bottom row of icons, you can see the photo button, the plus video button, and then the gallery buttons. If we hit the gallery button, it will access your camera roll and open up the camera roll, and you can select up to 10 of these at a time. Oh, more, I lied. Okay, 12 of these at a time, and then hit done, and it will import, ooh, it's 15. That was really, really bad math. And you can select to do all those. We're accidentally using a feature that I'm not. Pretend this isn't happening. We're alpha testing a new camera, and that's what that was. It's rapid fire annotation. It's going to be really, really excited when it comes out in like a week or two. And so be amazed in a week or two. But basically that time saving thing that's about to come your way that I just kind of brushed over is what we're calling the super camera. It's right underneath the category. It's the plus super button. And basically it's a rapid fire camera, and you can rapid fire annotate instead of taking a picture, annotating, picture, taking a picture, annotating. And so I accidentally activated that. So that's my bad. But to answer your question, you can upload up to 15 pictures at a time, not 10. So it's very exciting. You've no idea how happy that just made me. You're very welcome. Time saving, money making, all the good things. Okay, how many mock inspections can I do with the app? Technically, endlessly. Okay, so I kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, but the free trial at Spectora is 5 published inspections. So long as you don't actually publish the report to anyone, send out the report ready email, you can actually delete that report and generate a new one and keep on going up and down and generating a report, testing it out, and then deleting it again without actually using a free trial number up forever. While you have an inspection scheduled, it will say that you used 2 out of 5 inspections or whatever you have used scheduling wise. But if you haven't published the inspection to anyone, you can delete that inspection or just a report and get that free trial number back. So you have unlimited reports on 5 published inspections. I would say the majority of inspectors either blow through all 5 and then they're like, cool, I'm ready to subscribe. Or schedule 1 and then delete the report, add a new report, delete the report, add a new report. I think the personal record right now is for a user who has used 1 singular 1 out of 5 free trial inspections, and he's regenerated his report 36 times, testing out different templates. And so he's only technically used 1 of his 5. We don't have a time limit, so you can play around, get comfortable, really kind of figure out as many mock inspections as you need to do. And then you can save the actual ones that you can't delete, those 5 published, for the ones that you get paid for. So you can play around, don't send it to anybody, and then you still have a free trial. Cool. Question about what about a glossary? Do we have built-in diagrams and definitions that pop up to the client for a given item? For example, sump pit and pump. Okay, so you build your own template in Spectora. We have base templates that you can use. I'm going to attempt to answer this, and then I'll jump on the web after we're done with the mobile chats, and I'll show you where the template center is. We have over 30 base templates that you can use between Internachi, the Trek required template that generates the proper PDF, Internachi Ashi. Ben Gromyko, the founder of Internachi, actually uses us, and his personal template he put up for free in our template center, so you can download that and see how Ben Gromyko does his home inspections. So you build up your own glossary templates of comments. And when you create your glossary of comments, like the ones we're looking at right now with debris, downspouts, drains, all that kind of stuff, you can choose per comment to include the description, what each of those things mean. Such as for in debris, if I click into this, you can see that I've added the description in there for debris is accumulated in the gutters. And so you put those descriptions in there for your language. As for built-in diagrams, we don't personally have an illustration library. InterNACHI has one that you can purchase. And then what you do is you upload those pictures as default pictures into your comments. And when you do that, every time you activate a comment, that illustration gets automatically populated into your report. So it's great for showing side by sides of this is what a roof should look like. This is what your roof looks like. Not so great, that kind of thing. And so you would input those default photos, those illustrations into the comments that you choose when you're building your template. I would highly recommend checking out my template editing tutorial or the new user set series template editing overview, either one. Okay, when using this app, is a mobile smartphone enough or is a tablet recommended? Honestly, that's up to you. I would say it depends mostly on your eyesight. And I say that with love as someone who has really bad eyesight. Oops, I just put the app. As far as device specifications go, I would say we're about 50-50 split between Apple and Android users. And then within that, I would say that most, here's what I'm gonna say. We require 3 gigs of RAM, which is how much brain processing your device can handle at once. Most of the newer devices have 4 or more. Some of the new Androids, even the Note 9s and things like that, even have up to 8 gigs of RAM. They're super fast thinking. They can handle a lot of commands and things. I'm talking specifically about RAM, that's your memory, not your storage. That's how much it can hold. So you should be looking for a device that has 3 gigs. I really highly recommend 4 or more. 4 is kind of, things are really optimal. You don't have to worry about how many reports you have on the app that much, like that kind of thing. And so 3 gigs minimum, 4 gigs optimal for RAM specifications. I would highly recommend, you guys are going after a professional career as home inspectors, even if you're part-time, you guys are professionals. So I would highly recommend getting a device that's dedicated to your home inspection business. A lot of the tech support troubles that I see are when people use personal devices, that they have all of their like kids' birthday photos and multiple apps running at the same time and Pokemon Go and all these personal things going on at the same time on their personal phone, that makes your app run a little bit slower because your phone is processing so many commands. Its brain power goes slow. So I highly recommend using 1 device for your professional life and 1 device for your personal life. It also helps with things like you don't have to have internet on your professional device. You can use just Wi-Fi. Or when you're with a client or an agent, you don't have to worry about getting a phone call in the middle of doing your home inspection report and having to close out of it. So your professional device, personal device. That being said, we do have some people who use their personal device still, so it's not a deal breaker. But device specifications wise, 3 gigs of RAM minimum, 4 gigs of RAM better. And if you would like an exact list, if all of that was gibberish, type into the tech support chat bubble, and we have a great article on all of the devices that we highly recommend for using. I don't have a nice way to say this. I would say the younger guys mostly use phones, and the more experienced home inspectors generally use tablets, just eyesight. Okay. Does anyone have any other questions that I can answer about the mobile app before I switch back to the web and show you guys where the template setter is? I'll give you guys a second. The cute thing that I was going to mention earlier, while I'm waiting for people to type in here for a second, is one of the add-on services. So we're back to talking about services, pricing, fees, things like that. Is we have a few inspectors who have come up with creative ways to connect with the client and the agent and get rave reviews specifically when it comes to interacting with the potential client's children. And the cute add-on that I see more and more of lately is a monster inspection. And I think it's adorable, but the inspector will ask the client or the agent to bring their children with to the house that they're potentially buying. And after the actual home inspection is done, they will have the child, or while the home inspection is going on, they'll give them tasks like, okay, go check this closet. And you'll perform a monster inspection. And at the end, you can give the child either, I've seen a teddy bear or a certificate that says, congratulations, this house is monster free. And it goes over crazy well with the parents and the agents, and they're going to be recommending you to everybody else who's buying a house with kids. So that's a really cute one. Get really creative. Give yourself a personality as an inspector. We've got another inspector who constantly shows up with 6 packs of microbrewery beer for clients because the home inspection process is pretty stressful. And so he's like, cool, while I do an inspection, sit on the patio, here's a beer. And he has rave reviews, shockingly enough. So really think about what sets you apart from what can set you apart as an inspector. I don't know why that sentence was so hard. And yeah, you're going to see your business grow and grow and grow. Okay, so no one's really typing in about the app. So I'm going to quickly switch my screen share back to the web platform. Sorry, my face just got huge. Okay, template center. If you use the drop-down menu of your name to then go to the template editor, we're going to open it up. And then in the upper right-hand corner, as soon as my internet decides to play along, come on, nobody. There we go. This button right here, as soon as it loads, there's always one point in the webinars where the internet embarrasses me. I thought I was going to get away with it. No, nope. Okay. All right, template center. We click the template center button, it opens up, and home inspectors throughout the country, as well as us as inspectors and as admin, can add templates to the template center for people to grab. We've got ASHI, the FABI standards of practice. We've got several templates that populate directly to required PDFs, such as the Florida 4-point, the Florida WinMit. We've got the TREC REI 7.5 form, the TREC WDI, the MPMA 33. That's a pest termite inspection nationally. And then scrolling down here, this is Ben Gromiko's personal template. And further scrolling down, we have a ton, it's definitely over 30 by now, of lovely home inspectors who are proud of their templates and want to share and grow the inspection community. And so you can go in here, and these are all free. Just go in here and say, I want to download this radon inspection template. You would click it and say, yep, I want to add it. And that will load into your template center for you to be able to view it, and then also to edit and edit your template. So that's kind of where you would find a base glossary if you don't want to build your own template from scratch. And then we also do a lot of template importing from other softwares. If you're coming from HomeGauge, from Whisper, from a bunch of different softwares, type in the text word chat bubble, and we have help articles to be able to help you import your narratives and your comments into Spectora. I will say that a lot of the imports, because no software is one-to-one, they'll get your comments and your narratives in here without you having to retype. But because the softwares are different, you're going to have to do a little bit of rearranging, little house cleaning. A lot of inspectors actually see it as a great thing to be able to go through their template and clean up. Oh my gosh, I've got 4 comments that all apply to the same thing. I only need 1. Let's make everything more efficient. The name of the game in Spectora is efficiency. It's pretty great. Cool. All right. Before we kind of sign off, we've got a couple minutes. Does anyone have any further questions that they would like answered? While you guys are kind of thinking and typing, I'll do the general rant which is that check out Spectora, youtube.com/Spectora. The new user setup series is one of the playlists that's on there. Also, all of my previous webinars on there, a lot of the webinars that Kevin, our founder, has done when it comes to marketing, SEO, we have entire playlists for marketing ideas for agent presentations, things like that on there. That is all going to help you become more successful as a home inspector. Those tutorials are hugely useful. If you have questions as you're going through those tutorials, or you just can't find an answer, things like that, then you can click on this tech support shoppable in the, oh, I clicked it twice, in the bottom right-hand corner of Spectora.com. We cover all the business hours of all major US time zones, and Monday through Friday, and then we've got weekend hours as well. And so you're never gonna be going for very long. Ooh, I have a friend and a question. Okay, so how do you handle payments if you're paid by the old method, cash or check? Great question. Okay, so if I go back out to the dashboard here and we open up an inspection, so say the client has just handed me a check. We just did the inspection, here's your money. You want to consolidate your metrics that you've been paid for this, and you would also like to release the report to them. So Spectora will default to, they cannot view the report if you have not been paid and they have not signed their agreement. So no agreement signed, can't see it. Haven't been paid, can't see it. You can override the need for payment, say that you're doing it for a friend or something like that. But the agreement, if there's an unsigned agreement, it has to be signed. Liability comes first. And those are default within the system. So if we scroll down here on the inspection details page, and I have a tutorial on the new user setup series on this inspection details page. And so I can teach you all about all these little tiny buttons that do all these crazy awesome things. To mark an inspection as paid in cash or check, all I would do is hit the 3 buttons here in the corner and go to edit fees and payments, and then scroll down, and I would add a payment received. And when I add a payment received, I can choose whether or not it was in cash, check, on-site card. There's even an other, if you're bartering chickens or camels, I'm joking. And you can say they paid me $500, and then scroll down and hit save. And now you have logged that you received a $500 cash payment in the system. Your metrics are up to date. And if that was the amount on the invoice, your report is unlocked since they paid you. Nice and easy. Where did my chat go? Chat. Cool. Before I let you guys go, do you guys have any other questions? It takes me a couple hours. Usually I get it to you guys tomorrow. If you came in late and you want to watch the entire webinar, I do a little bit of video editing and a little bit of video processing, and then it should be on YouTube by tomorrow afternoon. So you can recap and see all of my terrible jokes all over again, or rewatch past webinars. And if you type into the tech support chat bubble, I can navigate you to the correct link if you have more of a specific question. Hey, I want to learn about editing a template in an Excel sheet. Okay, go look at this webinar, that kind of thing. I hope that this was helpful. I know I went kind of fast and I did a lot of overviews, but I always like to point out those little things to you guys. If you are interested in having Spectora build you a website, or starting off with our Jumpstart package that includes that annual subscription to the software, we can talk pricing and what all of that includes, or you can look at our web pages for those, spectora.com/jumpstart, or websites, and we can help you navigate to those links. SEO packages on there. We set up G Suite email hosting. If you own a domain and would like an email that comes from that domain, we can set that up for you. We're your whole tech team. We can get all that done. Okay, if nobody else has any other questions, it was lovely speaking to you today. I always feel funny on these sign-offs, but I hope to meet you guys on the tech support chat bubble. We love interacting with our inspectors. It's really no bother. And so come be friends on the chat bubble with me, Alexis, Mike, Kevin, Laura, Tyler, Alejandro, whole team, everybody. This will go up on YouTube here soon. All right, I'm gonna stop ranting now. I'll see you guys again soon. All right, bye.